I'll tell you who. Evil and very filthy Dr. Hey, wait a minute. Robotnik's giant robot and recover roommates. Now, with all the heroes...
A new record!
But one of our kids gets a little, and occasionally terrorizing.
And never has it tasted so...
I'm good.
Old chick. Do you think he's more cardio or...
Boys, when did you start getting so wise?
When the time is right.
Move. An attack can come from it.
You know what? I think now is a good time. Boulders. I'll tell you who. Evil and very filthy Dr. Hey, wait a minute. Robotnik's giant robot and recover roommates. Now, with all the heroes...
A new record!
But one of our kids gets a little, and occasionally terrorizing.
And never has it tasted so...
I'm good.
Old chick. Do you think he's more cardio or...
Boys, when did you start getting so wise?
When the time is right.
Move. An attack can come from it.
You know what? I think now is a good time.
Here's another recap on OKTV Today YouTube channel. In this recap we dive into Knuckles episode 1 to 6. We find out how Knuckles, Idris Elba, was tricked into assisting Dr. Robotnik prior to fighting Sonic in the first scene of Knuckles, the Warrior. Together, they located the Emerald and ended up saving the universe. Knuckles currently shares a room with Tails, Colleen O'Shaughnessy and Sonic, Ben Schwartz. In the end, Knuckles kills a few construction workers, thinking that House Wachowski is being attacked. According to Maddie Wachowski, her kid believes he is a fighter. They let Maddie know that their attorneys will be contacting her. Knuckles is munching potato chips when she finds him after the construction workers have left. Even though Knuckles is in fantastic health, Sonic informs Tails that this crew is the fourth one for the week. Maddie informs them that she will require assistance with Knuckles. Knuckles, according to Sonic, is only becoming used to his new surroundings. They must possess the patience to allow Knuckles to work things out. As soon as they spot Knuckles and the dog on the roof, Sonic says that it could be a good idea for them to have a conversation. When Sonic tries to talk to Knuckles, he only responds with, "No." Knuckles clarifies that he is only here on Earth because he promised Sonic and the Fox something. Knuckles is allowed to take a vacation from being a warrior as Sonic tells him they have already won and there is no more fighting. Earth is the ideal location for it. Knuckles muses over it and then decides to settle in. Maddie discovers Knuckles seated at the breakfast table on an iron throne in the morning. It signifies, Knuckles informs everyone, his duty as the family's champion. They will have to defeat him in a battle trial if they wish to take it. When Maddie discovers that he has converted the living room into a gladiator combat arena, she is not amused. Maddie stabilizes him. Knuckles takes it with reluctance. To find out if Wade Whipple, Adam Pally, would give her a ride to work, Maddie needs to phone him. Wade doesn't respond since he's too busy getting ready for the impending bowling event. He throws his ball in the incorrect way because Susie diverts his attention. A pep talk is given to Wade by a teammate. Another bowler, whom Jack Sinclair introduces himself to, attempts to talk him out of talking poorly to Susie. Susie's side wins because Wade comes close to getting a strike but misses one pin. He's failed the Renegades, Jack informs him. Wade is adamant that he will do better at the Tournament of Champions. Jack dismisses him from the squad and installs Susie in his place. He tells her that her parents are renting a stretch Hummer since they are wealthy. Wade volunteers to accompany them as a backup. Susie gets his jacket, which Jack steals. Jack hands Wade his card and heads out. Sonic attempts to make Knuckles feel better. When Knuckles has some time to himself, he consults the Echidna elders for advice. Chief Pachacamac pays him a visit and informs him that his search is far from over. Knuckles is in charge of their people's legacy. Knuckles has been asked by the chief to teach an apprentice the ways of the Echidnas. He presents Knuckles with a photo of Wade, who wants to participate in the Reno Tournament of Champions. Nevada. Wade is trying to lift weights when Knuckles discovers him and saves his life. Wade is going to the tournament with Knuckles. Wade thinks Jack was correct when he said he wasn't a warrior. If he takes him to Reno, Knuckles promises to turn him into a warrior. Wade says yes to his proposal. They start on their way to Reno. After a brief conversation, Wade plays one of his signature mixes. It dawns on Agent Willoughby at gun headquarters in London that they had a runner. Knuckles has departed the Green Hills Zone, she has been informed. They ought to let Commander Walters know. She assures Agent Fairley that she is in charge of the circumstance and that she shouldn't worry. Right now, only Willoughby is able to locate Knuckles. Fairley was sacked by her and banished to Mushroom Planet. When Willoughby discovers that one of the aliens is in the wild, he phones the buyer, Rory McCann. He feels that without his companions, Knuckles is weak. The secret to everything he's constructing lies in the quills. Willoughby promises to deliver Knuckles to him in a day. To level the odds, the buyer promises to send her something. Wade questions Knuckles about the training in the interim. Knuckles informs him that they must first identify the battleground. Wade shows him where to go bowling. Admitting that he learned everything he knows about bowling from his dad, he says he loves the game. Wade describes to him how his father forsook his family. He feels like he's with his dad again when he bowls. When Wade discovers how skilled Knuckles is at bowling, he is taken aback. Willoughby and her father show up soon after. Willoughby and Mason, Scott Mescudi, start shooting at them. Knuckles and Mason got into a fight. After Mason is defeated, Willoughby takes the field. Wade assists him by tossing him bowling balls. Knuckles finds himself stuck inside a box. After noticing one of the weapons, Wade remarks that he has a really stupid idea to assist Knuckles. The first Knuckles episode is a fantastic place for moviegoers to start. Wade needs all the assistance he can get, so Knuckles has the responsibility of training him. Wade, who was dismissed from his bowling team, is keen to participate in the Tournament of Champions in Reno, Nevada. Agents Willoughby and Mason assault them before their training can start because they want to sell Knuckles to the buyer. At the conclusion of the episode, Knuckles gets kidnapped. As a contemporary take on the video game series, the show looks amazing. Idris Elba adapted really rapidly, despite the fact that Knuckles' character appears a little out of place in the middle of so much silliness. Since the show is mostly about that, it is obviously intended for younger viewers. Though viewers might find the whole affair a bit irritating, the Wade persona matches it better. Again, because it looks fantastic and appeals more to teenagers with its wacky comedy, younger viewers are definitely going to love it. Given how often it has been done before, the bowling viewpoint feels really cheesy. This might have been an even larger smash with a stronger plot. It's a simple viewing that doesn't need much from viewers, and it will end quickly. But don't count on Knuckles to be in the limelight for long.
Ice Cap Ski Resort. I'm coming for you. He's in the history of law enforcement. I wasn't there for you.
Dungeon. Oh.
One day. Now, try not to get yourself killed by their suit. Or what Knuckles do.
I'm visualizing my inevitable. Yes! Your arm.
Stop talking to him.
Are we about to get
Step one, project. Lock and load.
Let us celebrate our victory with a war. How your screams are
Interrupt, but you almost. Do you know
possibly know about my life, a battle
your abilities?
me over the vile Dr. I can destroy someone.
If I were a Robotnik, what you know nothing.
Let's Can't be good. Wonder what that's all. Oh my God!
Don't ever say I wasn't there for you. In the opening scene of Knuckles' second episode, Knuckles meets the buyer at the Ice Cap ski resort with Agent Mason, Scott Mescud and Agent Willoughby, Ellie Taylor. As he draws up close, Wade Whipple, Adam Pally announces that he is heading for Knuckles. He quickly discovers how ill-prepared he is for this. Knuckles, played by Idris Elba, is curious about their destination. Mason switches on the lights in his mind so Knuckles can see the room. Wade is occupied with persuading himself that he can succeed. Mason is interrupted by Willoughby, who tells him to stop chatting to Knuckles. Wade purchases materials for the rescue from a local supermarket. He goes back to the lodge and shuts off the electricity. Wade uses motor grease to get Mason to come out. He'll attack Willoughby with a homemade torch and make off with Knuckles. Actually, Wade and the supplies are still in the store. Knuckles is informed by Willoughby that they haven't had time to get to know one another. She is well aware of his job. Willoughby queries him about his opinion of her in comparison to the legendary Evo Robotnik. He is mistaken, she claims, and he has no knowledge of her. He will after this is all over. At last, Wade comes back carrying the goods. He opens the Spotify app and plays some music. Wade ultimately sets the pyrotechnics on fire and causes them to explode. He captures Willoughby and Mason's interest. Wade says he's here to support Knuckles. He tries using the power gloves, but he finds them difficult to use. Willoughby is told by Mason to watch after the echidna while he takes care of things. Mason picks up the glove and puts it on, and Wade runs away. Mason follows him after spotting him. He shares with Wade his experience playing the underground fighting game. It seems like Knuckles' rescue isn't going well, Willoughby informs him. To answer a call from his mother, Mason puts an end to his attacks on Wade. Wade squirts hot sauce in Mason's face after the call. Wade ultimately suffers a glass-breaking blow. Wade goes up to Willoughby, who doesn't seem impressed. What Wade wants with Knuckles, she queries. Wade promises to shoot Knuckles out of his cage when they win a bowling tournament. Wade then escapes on Knuckles' back. Knuckles cautions him that his gliding is just momentary. Wade finds himself in a trash can. Wade gets up, and they pilfer a pickup vehicle that is close by. Wade makes a visit at a burger joint to replenish his supplies. Knuckles claims that Wade's combat shortcomings are what led to his captivity. He thinks their victory was just coincidental. Wade learned to accept any victory from his father. Mason is informed by Willoughby that they cannot back out since they have been providing weapons to one of the most deadly criminal organizations in the world. If they arrive without anything, he will murder them. Wade gets asked by Knuckles why he stays in Green Hills. Wade claims that it has been home forever. Knuckles is still without a place to call home. He vowed to his fellow fighters that he would locate and safeguard the Master Emerald. Knuckles is aware of his frequent betrayals. Wade is strong enough to know he would never betray a buddy, even though he is aware of how that feels.
Place where there are no warring clans. Galaxy. Seen planets, and I made a promise to my fellow.
They listen to Scorpion's Rock You Like a Hurricane in the vehicle. They learn of Wade's manhunt from a news story. Knuckles blows the radio away. Wade later almost nods off while traveling to Reno. He's got somewhere they can hide out. When he comes back, his mother is taken aback to see him. Although Knuckles isn't a very good anime for adults, the second episode was nevertheless enjoyable. During the first 2 episodes, the soundtrack has been entertaining. Essentially, the episodes revolve around Wade and Knuckles' relationship. It's petty and doesn't really mean anything. Wade Whipple, Adam Pally surprises his mother Wendy, Stockard Channing by coming home at the start of the 3rd episode of Knuckles. When Wade sees his sister Wanda, Edie Patterson in her FBI suit, he is not pleased. Wanda informs Wade why she is there, and they quarrel for a time. Wendy is curious about Wade's girlfriend's Jewish heritage. She doesn't anticipate running into someone like Idris Elba's character Knuckles. For a moment, she falls.
Dude.
Sup, Wanda?
I gotta tell you instead.
You know it's embarrassing.
What? The FBI?
Okay.
That's the secretary of the... Done?
Mom, I need to tell you.
I'ma head to you in respect.
Knuckles and Wade say they won't stay there long after they enter. Wanda looks for weaponry on Knuckles. They have been asked to supper. Every Shabbat meal with the Whipple family has been nothing but violence, treachery, and lies, so Wade believes they should leave. Is Knuckles Jewish? Wendy asks. Wade is shocked that his mother prepared his favorite dishes, despite the fact that they were from the most obscure Jewish festivals.
Like a warrior.
Oh, here. Sit and eat stuff, if you could help me.
No way.
Adonai, Eloheinu.
Oh. It is awesome.
So funny.
Everyone, dig it.
Are the last of my tribe.
Oh.
Knuckles looks at their little hats. Wendy starts off by explaining that Shabbat is a day of relaxation. During supper, Wade and Wanda are still fighting. Wendy inquires about Knuckles' relatives. He claims that a race of enormous owls destroyed his people. According to Wendy, there have also been difficult moments for their tribe. According to her, Knuckles is essentially Jewish. The cuisine appeals to Knuckles. Wanda queries Wade about his involvement with the extraterrestrial. He informs her that he has been employed by GUN, a covert international law enforcement organization. Wanda is not going to believe him. Even though she probably doesn't, she says she knows someone from GUN. Knuckles informs Wendy about the Master Emerald in the meantime. Hearing Wanda and Wade quarrel wears her out. Knuckles finds out that Wendy was formerly a teacher of the Israeli self-defense technique known as Krav Maga. Wanda becomes agitated and uses a fork to stab Wade in the arm. Wendy encourages Wade to stop being such a jerk. He was his father, Wade reminded her. Wendy and Knuckles wind up alone. They have an easy capture, so a bounty hunter contacts someone and orders them to collect up the people. Knuckles visits Wade's room to see how he is doing.
I'm just...
I see this.
Oh, that guy?
Other is the champion?
No, I didn't know that. Matter.
I see.
Wait.
He spots a poster for Pete Whipple's pistol. Knuckles queries whether they want to go to Reno in order to challenge and overthrow his father. The character development is really so strong that it's almost disappointing when the episode nearly sacrifices it all for yet another massive action scene that isn't really required. Wade acts as though he is unaware that his father would be attending the bowling event. Wade made a CD a long time ago, which they listened to. Wade shares with Knuckles how he used to go to the bowling alley with his dad and how he left. Wade's cutout of Zap from American Gladiators catches Knuckles' attention. Wade is eager to get rid of him, but he has a lot of questions. When Knuckles gets back to Wendy, the theological rambling goes on. Even with her kids there, Wendy talks of feeling alone. Pretty Woman is what they watch. That evening, the bounty hunters come to the house. They quickly storm inside and search for Wade. Wade attacks one bounty hunter, causing minimal damage. After arriving and tending to the bounty hunter, Knuckles seriously ruins the house. Until the bounty hunter tries to harm her, Wanda believes he is a joke. She is also saved by Knuckles. Two bounty hunters approach Wendy. They are looked for by her and Knuckles. Wendy is glad that her family banded together to keep each other safe. The Shabbat dinner is, in many respects, Knuckles' best episode to date. It demonstrates that the program can thrive without Sonic visiting and has an almost ideal balance of humor, tragedy, and action. As Wade explains to Knuckles the strength-boosting potential of a music that truly gets the energy flowing, it even features some hilarious dialogue. I had a friend who, when he listened to Alien Ant Farm, could lift a Toyota Corolla over his head. Make a vow to God. The finest part, though, is when we watch Wade converse with Knuckles in a bedroom from his youth that is filled with 80s souvenirs, including a RoboCop picture and a Ninja Turtles bedspread. Wade gets checked on in his room by Knuckles. A poster for Pistol, Pete Whipple catches his eye. Knuckles queries whether they intend to challenge and remove his father from power in Reno. Wade makes a show of being unaware that his father would be attending the bowling competition. They are listening to an old CD that Wade mastered. Wade shares with Knuckles his father's departure and their past outings to the bowling alley. Wade has cut off Zap from American Gladiators, and Knuckles notices. Though Wade is eager to be rid of him, he has a lot of questions. Knuckles goes back to Wendy, and they continue their theological discourse. Wendy talks about spending time alone herself, even with her kids there. They see Pretty Woman. That evening, the bounty hunters close in on the house. They quickly rush inside and begin looking for Wade. Wade attacks one bounty hunter, dealing very little damage. When Knuckles shows there, He destroys the house but also takes care of the bounty hunter. Up until he makes an attempt to harm her, Wanda believes the bounty hunter is a joke. She is also saved by Knuckles. Two bounty hunters approach Wendy. They are looked for by her and Knuckles. Wendy is glad that her family has united to look out for one another. Knuckles' first 2 episodes were passable but not very noteworthy. Without a doubt, the 3rd episode of the show was the weakest thus far. A large portion of this may be ascribed to how pointlessly time-consuming the episode was and how little it advanced the plot. Rather, it went into far too much detail into the foundations of religion. This may be okay for curriculum at a religious school, but Knuckles is meant to be a kid-friendly comedy. Not to add, Wade and Wanda's back and forth was just plain annoying. Wade is already hard to handle. Wanda was obviously not a nice addition to enhance that persona.
Good morning. Good night. So good morning.
He must learn to rescue himself.
After reading the newspaper that Paperboy Eric gave him and eating cereal, Wade Whipple joyfully awakens in the demolished Whipple residence. He then stands by the porch with a cup in his hand, content with the weather for the day, until he is grabbed by the leg by a rope that is attached to a motorcycle. He calls out to Knuckles the Echidna for assistance, but he declines as he needs to learn how to save himself first. Wade launched the motorbike at the Boise National Forest's welcome sign as it passed past. Jack Sinclair, a bounty hunter and biker, approaches him and tazzes him. Wade wakes up in a cage that Sinclair purchased on Facebook Marketplace and pleads with Sinclair to release him. Sinclair explains that after becoming bankrupt while suing a restaurant chain, he will turn him in to change his life.
I'm truly sorry. I was hoping for a little bit more of a fight. Scorpion across the river?
Oh my God, now with this
Exquisite scorpion. With beautiful...
I can't remember. For the 3rd time, you didn't tell me you were gonna throw it.
Do not touch bars.
Get me. Kick it.
Wade, time is of ancestral lands.
I think it's working.
In response to Whipple's query on how their alleged friendship came to be, Sinclair told a scenario that Whipple had heard several times before. He compared himself to a scorpion compelled by nature to strike Wade, a frog, in the back as he was being carried over the river. Singing "Send Me an Angel" as he announces a single, brief drop-off to the Barnes family in Reno, Nevada, Sinclair gets inside the automobile to which the cage is attached, disregarding Whipple's entreaties. Then he calls on Whipple, who is still dependent on Knuckles. After discovering the actual might of a warrior, he is instructed to escape the cage by rising to the great battleground in the sky and meditating. The electricity in the cage shocks him when he does this. Pachacamac greets Wade unexpectedly in the great battleground in the sky and tells him where he is. In response to Whipple's deduction that Knuckles instructed him to climb in order to get a fresh lesson, Pachacamac explains that the lesson would not only be imparted to him but would also be performed to him in a budget-friendly rock musical. Whipple is given his voice and ends up dressed like Knuckles after being fed a ray of rainbows. Whipple is placed in Knuckles' position, instructed to view the trek to Reno through his eyes, beginning with the events of 2010, when he was grieving the loss of his father. As Knuckles, he embarks on a quest to locate the flames of disaster, a fabled and magnificent power.
Got it. Could have been.
Sorry.
Yes, sir. I apologize.
However, he is captured by the malevolent Iblis, who shoots fire at him, which he deflects with his fists. Whipple is certain that the strength originates in his fist, regaining consciousness to strike the electrified bars, even if Jack Sinclair, dressed as Longclaw, sings that it is in his heart. When his effort fails, he is returned to the battlefield with the assurance that Longclaw will allow him to complete this time. According to the story, Knuckles has been defeated by the monster and has realized that inner strength is what really matters. He jumps skyward after using the flames of disaster to slay the demon. After bursting from the cage and landing gracefully on the road, Whipple challenges Sinclair to a battle for his integrity, liberty, and leather jacket.
Still in. Okay. One cool bike caught my eye. This vehicle.
Hey! You're gonna die, idiot!
That's not cool.
While Whipple grabs a child's bicycle, Sinclair, excited, gives him one of the two swords that Hattori Hanzo crafted. He then rides his motorbike far enough for the duel. Whipple wins by chopping off Sinclair's ponytail as they charge at one another. He commands his old best friend to give him his Renegade's vest, leather jerkin, and jacket. The third rule of bounty hunting, according to Sinclair, is to flee when a worthy opponent has been faced. As the spectators applaud his triumph, Whipple lifts the ponytail. Then, donning his hat as well, Whipple goes back inside and greets his sister Wanda, mother Wendy, and a happy Knuckles. Wendy and Wanda begin their journey to Reno with Wade and Knuckles.
A real gangster type player. We knowing all his boys.
Reno, baby.
10 bins. At the ground. You damn right.
At last, Wendy and Wanda Whipple, together with Knuckles the Echidna and Wade Whipple, reach Reno, Nevada, making a stop at the National Bowling Stadium. The Whipples and Knuckles enter the facility and are astounded by its inside. Wendy invites Knuckles to visit the spa, and Wanda tries to give him a Wanderita.
A margarita.
That sounds fun.
You and Knuckles want to just slip in.
Isn't it crazy that we're related?
Since they must maintain a low profile, Wade declines to have both. Wade turns to see his dad, Pistol Pete Whipple, get into the room after Wendy and Wanda had decided to do it alone. He exudes calm and assurance. Despite his want to speak with him, Wade refrains from doing so since he is unsure of how to respond. Knuckles assists Wade by providing an earpiece as he uses Wade's phone to speak on Wade's behalf. Pistol Pete is taken aback by Wade's reappearance and his words, while Knuckles is preoccupied with a mascot who partially resembles him. Wade informs him that he returned to his father because he missed him and wanted to compete, and he removes the earpiece.
We bowl. Let's catch up on lost time.
When the bowling tournament of champions is over, Pistol Pete laughs with Wade and proposes they catch up. After failing to deliver Knuckles to him, Willoughby and Mason, former operatives of the Guardian Units of Nations, are abducted and taken to the buyer. Despite being furious about their failure, the buyer is able to empathize with the agents because he was also a GUN agent, formerly part of Dr. Eggman's team, who was pursued by the GUN following the Sonic the Hedgehog hunt but managed to flee, selling his inventions on the black market and establishing an empire.
Betrayed me first, had ever seen. Trusting them as they taken out of the field, shove one more chance.
Oh, God.
Willoughby explains why she abandoned the United Nations after being dismissed for alerting superiors to the threat posed by the aliens living in Green Hills, Montana. Threatened with death if the agents fail again, the buyer chooses to let them go to obtain Knuckles for his most recent invention. Wade, who had never had a conversation with a parent before, sits in the lobby with Pistol Pete that evening after contending against 32 teams in the tournament presented by ESPN 8 The Ocho. They talk about the tournament and its impending finals, and Wade learns about the birds and the bees. Because he is with relatives, Pistol Pete chases away two autograph seekers who disrupt the discourse. Pistol Pete responds that he was looking for anything related to bowling.
Bring me up like this is gonna let.
Sorry, thank you. Did you leave? I thought the only place I could find it with you. How it might seem, I never.
Wade Jammer's 90
back.
But that what he was seeking for was at home when Wade asks him why he left. He never lost sight of Wade, though, and showed him all the Wadejammers CDs that had been sent to him. He never had the guts to write Wade back, believing himself to be a schmuck. As Pistol Pete expresses regret for his actions and Wendy observes them in the background, Wade rejects him and gives him a hug. Later, she warns her son about Pistol Pete in a conversation with Wade in the corridor beside his room.
a second sky lobby or something. It is humbly decorated. An early temperate climate in Nevada?
This way. I am sorry. Oh, yeah.
Okay, no, bro, that is
The TJ Maxx.
I've ever had to do in my life.
accent. You're from Slough.
You know, despite all.
She enters the elevator and walks in beside Agent Mason. Wade accepts his invitation to Pistol Pete's apartment and is shown to the master bedroom. Pistol Pete apologizes once again as they go along, this time for his acts in bringing Wendy and Wanda to Willoughby and Mason as captives, rather than for his actions back then. The only Whipple that counts is him. Pistol Pete responds when a betrayed Wade asks him why he did this, adding that Wade would be better off giving up Knuckles to protect his family. Wade complies, enticing Knuckles to the suite while the agents watch him. Agents Willoughby and Mason, who overheard their talk, were ready to assault Knuckles as soon as the elevator doors unlocked after Wade Whipple enticed Knuckles the echidna to the elevator that led to Pistol Pete Whipple's apartment.
Just don't hurt him.
Huge.
Willoughby then fired multiple shots at the elevator. Before they can see Knuckles dangling from the ceiling, they are confronted with a ripped mascot outfit as they reach the elevator. He knocks them aside as he descends. It turns out that Knuckles had also overheard Wade and the agents talking, and then he got into a battle with them while Wade crawled into the penthouse to get to the master room and used Tom Wachowski's master key to save his mother Wendy. Wanda dislocates her thumb in order to save herself since she won't be saved. As the agents appear to be caving in, Wade distracts Knuckles by checking up on him. When Willoughby fires 2 rings at Knuckles, Knuckles deflects them, leaving them exposed with their faces facing one another. The rings clash and collapse, entangling the agents. Encouraged by Knuckles to rush into the bowling tournament of champions finals, Wade shows up late to face a haughty Pistol Pete who was eager to claim his triumph when Wade failed to show up.
Maybe he didn't hear it. Let me hear it. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Is officially a no.
Surprised to see me?
You are in over your head.
I'd say your game's gotten
Private.
I'm going to give you...
Wade is repeatedly forced to give up, but he doesn't give in, which leads to a barrage of blows from both players. As Knuckles eats challah bread and enjoys the game, he hears agitated cries coming from all throughout the National Bowling Stadium. He rushes outdoors to be apprehended and stopped by the buyer's mech. Pistol Pete is facing a spare by the last frame, so Wade must toss a strike for a possible victory. Using what he has learned from the warriors in his family and circle of friends, Wade affirms that he is powerful enough to defeat his own father when Pistol Pete questions him about it. Wade celebrates his victory in the event by throwing a NIPT strike even though he was declared a loser. Wade rushes outside the hole in the wall to assist his pal when the buyer throws Knuckles into the bowling alley and pulls him back. Knuckles' strength is gone outside the stadium. When the buyer comes, Wade realizes he was kidding and prompts him to come get him, neglecting his power surge. In an attempt to uplift Knuckles, his mother and sister help him by giving him Mason's gauntlets and a variety of bowling balls to toss.
Or are you just another...
All my life I've learned from most of all. I learned. That's why I never would have found...
Oh, he is monologuing.
You always will be.
Knuckles?
Wade Whipple.
They also inform him about the things he has battled for, such as a family, friends, and a home, as well as the accomplishments they have both made during their quest. Knuckles emerges and uses the flames of disaster to defeat the buyer and his mech. Covert bowling commentators spoke about an identical incident with an alien back at the 1974 bowling championship. Additionally, they see Pistol Pete snatching the trophy after losing on the lanes. Wade, holding the trophy, leaps up with his Knuckles for a high five as Wanda and Wendy beat him up over it. Wade recommends playing his new mix, Knuckles and Wade Warrior Jammers, as road trip music when he returns to Green Hills, Montana. Knuckles puts on Scandals, the Warrior, and declares it to be his favorite song. Knuckles' TV series has united the entire world. I traced and followed some of the best Knuckles fans on the internet to find out their reactions on the new TV series by the same name. It's safe to say Knuckles is everyone's cup of tea. Let's start off with some of the top Redditors, and let's have a look at what they had to say. Comic_book_reader dropped his thoughts, quote unquote. The new live-action series will follow Knuckles, Idris Elba, on a hilarious and action-packed journey of self-discovery as he agrees to train Wade, Adam Pally as his protege, and teach him the ways of the Echidna Warrior. The series takes place between the films Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Stream Knuckles April 26th, exclusively on Paramount Plus in the US and Canada. The series will stream on April 27th in all additional Paramount Plus territories, and in Japan later in the year. Other went on to get excited and bragged how they played Sonic games on their archaic consoles 20 years ago, only for a TV series to drop in 2024 depicted an actualized wish and a dream come true. Googly Eyes 93 remarked, quote unquote, "In no way could child me playing Sonic 3 on my shitty second-hand Genesis see this being made almost 20 years later. In no way would child me think that this would actually be one of my most hyped series of the year. Of all the games that could thrive in live action, Sonic was nowhere near the top. So glad it proved otherwise." This hat right here also left a comment, "They're kids' movies, but surprisingly well made and all of the A-list actors actually give it their all." Which is honestly more than you can expect from these series a lot of the time. I think they needed to commit to the franchise with the roaring success the first movie had after their big design pivot. Probably cost the studio a ton of money on overtime and merch they had to scrap, not to mention delaying the original movie. They started to recoup the money and realized how rabid the Sonic fanbase is when they get anything better than a 4/10ths project. The announcement of a Knuckles series generated excitements from across the world never seen before or for a long time since the release of Moana, which was also announced today. The year ahead looks exciting and going to leave this here also thinks so too, and even went ahead to ask for Shadow Series 2. He noted, quote unquote, "Enjoy spin-offs over sequels. Builds the world further and allows for main characters to become support characters and support characters to become main characters. Will def be watching. Give me a showdown series after 3 if possible, crossed fingers." The release of Knuckles has no doubt elicited childhood memories, as CO_Chingui said, quote unquote, "Knuckles was my favorite as a kid and he's my favorite now. I wanted 2 things in life. A Knuckles the Echidna plush doll. Knuckles on TV, in a movie. I got number 1 at the LA County Fair when I won a game that had Sonic and Knuckles dolls as prizes. Cost me around $20 but worth it. And now we have the best version of the second. I freaking loved Knuckles in Sonic 2 and this looks awesome. Knuckles forever," he summarized. Jumping over to X, Elon Musk's platform, I was eager to see what Zerzda had to say. In such a beautiful moment when we get one trailer from Paramount uniting the entire world, old and young. It becomes such a beautiful moment, so on X discussing film posted the trailer and we traced what their followers had to say. Comrade plus Commander at KMNDR_ wrote, quote, "Never forget, when studios listen, good things can happen to franchises. Give the creative powers inside these properties room to cook and they will." End of quote. Some of the fans now believe everything about the series is pure genius, with L Boogie at Lenel_Louis noting, quote, "Using crime mobs, knuck if you buck, for this is beyond genius." He said, and on a technical point of view, WavDeku at .wavdeku_ made a prolific suggestion. "We all love the Sonic redesign, but I hope it gets retooled at some point. It works because he is a kid RN, but I hope they age him up some and let his hair grow some, so he look more akin to these designs. Maybe make the movies a little more serious, especially this third one with Shadow." And finally the icing on the cake, when at Sonic Movie announced the series. On X, the comments section went berserk, quote, "He just hits different. Hashtag Knuckles, a 6-episode streaming event, comes to hashtag Paramount Plus April 26th. End of quote. Taco at TacoCat410 pointed out, "I didn't ask for this, but now that it's real I really want it." Brian Tully at ShyBraGuy13 was flabbergasted, quote, "It occurs to me that this year we're literally getting Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Last but not least, we would go on and on to read your excitement here, but we have to sum up unfortunately. As we come to end it, Jamie_Stage had more questions than answers, quote unquote. Looks amazing, excited to see it when it does come. But first I would like to ask, who's this? I though Knuckles was the last Echidna, and suddenly we have another one working in a bowling alley. Are there any hints you can give us?" He went ahead to note why the storyline confusion. "I had a thought about how that's Knuckles having a nightmare or something about what his future may be, but the name tag shows that it isn't him, so I'm pretty sure it's another Echidna, alive or an hallucination. We'll just have to wait and see, but you never know. By any chance, if you believe you know the plot better, care to elaborate in the comment section so that no one gets left behind, however Sharky." At Ryan Thomas 1 quickly pointed out who it was, quote, "He is the chief of the Echidna tribe, to Carl's father, and he is from Sonic Adventure 1. End of quote. Still not sure if it is really Takal's father or you believe it is really someone else? Your comment will truly be appreciated. In summary, here is a brief review of Paramount's Knuckles 6-part series from OKTV Today. The initial trailer for Paramount Plus and Knuckles spin-off series of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies was shown on Thursday morning by the streaming service. In Knuckles, Idris Elba makes a comeback as the name brand Grumpy Echidna, who originally appeared as Sonic's enemy before becoming a buddy in his subsequent Hedgehog game. The initial glimpse, dubbed the latest in the cinematic world of Sonic the Hedgehog, also reveals that the complete 6-episode series will have its simultaneous premiere on Paramount Plus in North America on April 26th. On April 27th, other regions will be added, and at the end this year, Japan will be released. Besides giving fans a closer look at Knuckles, Paramount Pictures and Sega of America have scheduled a TV advertisement to appear during Super Bowl 58 on Sunday. Also scheduled to arrive, surprisingly, on Nickelodeon's dedicated live coverage of football's greatest evening is the character Knuckles. Knuckles is set in between Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which is set to premiere in cinemas on December 20th and is directed by Jeff Fowler, who is returning to the franchise. In the Paramount Plus series, Adam Pally, who starred in the Hedgehog series, reprises his role as Wade Whipple, whom Knuckles trains in The Ways of the Echidna Warrior, in addition to Elba's vocal reprise. The Knuckles pilot is directed by Fowler, while the next episodes are led by Ged Wright, Brandon Trost, Jorma Taccone, and Carol Banker. Executive producers Neil H. Moritz, Toby Asher, John Whittington, Toru Nakahara, and Fowler are joined by Elba. Showrunner Toby Asher and creator John Whittington are behind the Knuckles series.
Without his little heater,
What's your latest power?
planet. I am.
Today is gonna be a
To rescue it.
The journey is getting interesting. We have dropped another cool video, with a top 10 best scenes from Knuckles Season 1 Volume 1. At OKTV Today, we bring you more TV content than everybody else. If you love our video, please, drop a thumbs up, leave a comment and share your thoughts on what you think of these scenes. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification because you are our superhero. 1. Saving the Universe. We find out how Knuckles, Idris Elba was tricked into assisting Dr. Robotnik prior to fighting Sonic in the first scene of Knuckles, the Warrior. Together, they located the Emerald and ended up saving the universe. Knuckles currently shares a room with Tails, Colleen O'Shaughnessy and Sonic, Ben Schwartz. 2. Knuckles munching potato chips. Knuckles kills a few construction workers, thinking that House Wachowski is being attacked. According to Maddie Wachowski, her kid believes he is a fighter. They let Maddie know that their attorneys will be contacting her. Knuckles is munching potato chips when she finds him after the construction workers have left. Even though Knuckles is in fantastic health, Sonic informs Tails that this crew is the fourth one for the week.
Boys, when did you start getting so wise?
3. Knuckles and the dog. Maddie informs them that she will require assistance with Knuckles. Knuckles, according to Sonic, is only becoming used to his new surroundings. They must possess the patience to allow Knuckles to work things out. As soon as they spot Knuckles and the dog on the roof, Sonic says that it could be a good idea for them to have a conversation. 4. No more fighting. When Sonic tries to talk to Knuckles, he only responds with, no. Knuckles clarifies that he is only here on Earth because he promised Sonic and the Fox something. Knuckles is allowed to take a vacation from being a warrior as Sonic tells him they have already won and there is no more fighting. Earth is the ideal location for it. Knuckles muses over it and then decides to settle in. Maddie discovers Knuckles seated at the breakfast table on an iron throne in the morning. 5. The family's champion. Knuckles informs everyone his duty as the family's champion. They will have to defeat him in a battle trial if they wish to take it. When Maddie discovers that he has converted the living room into a gladiator combat arena, she is not amused. Maddie stabilizes him. Knuckles takes it with reluctance. 6. Bowling. To find out if Wade Whipple, Adam Pally would give her a ride to work, Maddie needs to phone him. Wade doesn't respond since he's too busy getting ready for the impending bowling event. He throws his ball in the incorrect way because Susie diverts his attention. A pep talk is given to Wade by a teammate. Another bowler, whom Jack Sinclair introduces himself to, attempts to talk him out of talking poorly to Susie. Susie's side wins because Wade comes close to getting a strike but misses one pin. He's failed the Renegades, Jack informs him. Wade is adamant that he will do better at the Tournament of Champions. 7. Chief Pachacamac. Sonic attempts to make Knuckles feel better. When Knuckles has some time to himself, he consults the Echidna elders for advice. Chief Pachacamac pays him a visit and informs him that his search is far from over. Knuckles is in charge of their people's legacy. Knuckles has been asked by the chief to teach an apprentice the ways of the Echidnas. He presents Knuckles with a photo of Wade, who wants to participate in the Reno Tournament of Champions, Nevada.
In the midst of train him as a warrior. Close stuff.
8. Warrior. Wade is trying to lift weights when Knuckles discovers him and saves his life. Wade is going to the tournament with Knuckles. Wade thinks Jack was correct when he said he wasn't a warrior. If he takes him to Reno, Knuckles promises to turn him into a warrior. Wade says yes to his proposal. They start on their way to Reno. After a brief conversation, Wade plays one of his signature mixes. 9. Mushroom Planet. It dawns on Agent Willoughby at gun headquarters in London that they had a runner. Knuckles has departed the Green Hills Zone, she has been informed. They ought to let Commander Walters know. She assures Agent Fairley that she is in charge of the circumstance and that she shouldn't worry. Right now, only Willoughby is able to locate Knuckles. Fairley was sacked by her and banished to Mushroom Planet. When Willoughby discovers that one of the aliens is in the wild, he phones the buyer, Rory McCann. He feels that without his companions, Knuckles is weak. The secret to everything he's constructing lies in the quills. Willoughby promises to deliver Knuckles to him in a day. 10. Knuckles and Mason duel. Wade questions Knuckles about the training in the interim. Knuckles informs him that they must first identify the battleground. Wade shows him where to go bowling. Admitting that he learned everything he knows about bowling from his dad, he says he loves the game. Wade describes to him how his father forsook his family. He feels like he's with his dad again when he bowls. When Wade discovers how skilled Knuckles is at bowling, he is taken aback. Willoughby and her father show up soon after. Willoughby and Mason, Scott Mescudi, start shooting at them. Knuckles and Mason got into a fight. After Mason is defeated, Willoughby takes the field. Wade assists him by tossing him bowling balls. Knuckles finds himself stuck inside a box. After noticing one of the weapons, Wade remarks that he has a really stupid idea to assist Knuckles. If you like this recap, make sure to check out the OKTV Today's YouTube channel, where we have hundreds of recaps just like this. Make sure you subscribe and click on that bell so you'll get notification.